Unit 9, Day 3 video notes, Radical Operations. Okay, adding and subtracting radicals are a couple things that need to go on here. One, we need to make sure that all of these are fully simplified so that we know what are like terms that we can combine and what are not. So we're going to start off by factoring the number under the radical in each case. Now, in this case, the 3 is prime, so I'm just going to circle it. And then we've got 2 times 3 right here. Next number, and maybe I should start changing colors here just to make it easy to distinguish them. So 48 factors as 2 times 24, 2 times 12, 2 times 6, and 2 times 3. We'll circle all of the prime factors. Okay, and then we'll move over to the 54 here. 2 times, let's see here, half of 50 is 25, half of 4 is 2, 25 plus 2 is 27. And that's 3 times 9, which is 3 times 3. And the 2. I need to make sure I don't forget that one. So let's see what we have here. Okay. 2 times 3, we don't have any sets of 2 there. How about here? Well, there's a set of 2 2's right here. So its square root is 2. Another set of 2's here. Its square root is 2. And then over here, we have a single set of 3's, and its square root is 3. So let's take a look at what we have. And I'm going to see if I can shrink this down slightly. Boy, I'm at 75% already. We'll shrink it slightly so we can see everything. So now I have 7 times the square root of 3. And then this square root of 6, we can't simplify it any farther, so minus 4 times the square root of 6. Now, let's look at this. 2 times the square root of 48. Well, that breaks down. I've got 2 times 2, its square root is 4. Another 2 times, is 2. Another 2 times 2, and its square root is 2. And then there's a 3 left over. So I'm going to end up with this 2 that's already there times the 2 and the other 2 that I've taken out. So that's 8. Sorry, I better put in the plus. Let's see if I can get that to work. Plus 8 times, and then we have the square root of this 3 left in there. And then minus, okay. I've got a set of 3's here, so its square root is 3. 3 times 6 gives me 18. Minus 18 times the square root of, well, we've got a 6 left in there. 2 times 3 is 6. There's the square root of 6. Okay, let me go back to the zoom here, bring this back to 100%. Bring it down and extend the page. And now we can work with this some more. Okay, so now I want to take my like terms. The square root of 3's I'm going to put together. The square root of 6's I'm going to put together. So I have, and I'll change colors just to make it easier to read, 7 times the square root of 3 plus 8 times the square root of 3 minus 4 times the square root of 6 minus 18 times the square root of 6. Okay, so 7 times the square root of 3 plus 8 times the square root of 3 gives me 15 times the square root of 3. And then those are both minus, so it's going to be minus, and 4 and 18, that gives me 22, minus 22 times the square root of 6. And that's as far as I can simplify it. Okay, so now that I've tried adding and subtracting binomials with radicals, well, actually that wasn't a binomial, it was a quadrinomial, but a polynomial with radicals. Now that I've tried doing that, let's try multiplying some binomials with radicals. And guess what? It's going to look very familiar. We're going to use the box just like we've done in the past with polynomials. So I've got 2 times the square root of 7 and the square root of 3. And you know what, I'm looking at this. Let me make that box a little bigger. Okay. Make it easier to see here. Okay. 2 times the square root of 7 plus the square root of 3. 2 times the square root of 7 minus the square root of 3. Okay. So 2 times 2 is 4, and the square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is 7. Well, gee, 4 times 7 is 28, so we're going to make that a 28. Okay, 2 times the square root of 7 times negative square root of 3. Well, that's going to give us a negative 2 times the square root of 21. I've multiplied the negative and the 2. I've multiplied the square root of 3 times the square root of 7. Okay, over here, I'm going to get positive 2 times the square root of 21. Again, that's the same thing. I've got the 2 times the 1 that's not written, of course, and then square root of 7 times the square root of 3. And then when I multiply down here the negative square root of 3 times the square root of 3, I'm going to get negative 3. Okay, so now we get to look at doing the combining here. And what I'm going to find here is 2 times the square root of 21 minus 2 times the square root of 21. Those two cancel each other out. So now I just need to combine the 28 and the negative 3, which gives me 25. Rationalizing denominators with binomials. Okay, let's see here. In the bottom of my fraction is 2 minus the square root of 7. We're going to rationalize the denominator by multiplying the denominator by... We're going to use one of our special products, a difference of 2 squares, where the middle term canceled out, because that's what we want to happen. Back here, what we saw happen here is what we want to happen. These middle terms canceled each other out. If they hadn't, we'd have had a radical still. We want them to cancel each other out so that there's no radical. So we're going to do exactly that. We're going to multiply, we're going to take this 2 times 2 minus the square root of 7 and multiply it by 2 plus the square root of 7. The other piece of that pair that gives us a difference of 2 squares and causes the middle term to cancel out. And then, of course, we multiply the top by the same thing. And now it's just as simple as using the box and doing the multiplication. And yes, we're going to get to do it twice potentially here. So let's see. On the top, I've got 1 plus the square root of 7 and 2 plus the square root of 7. So I've got a 2 here. And then the square root of 7 times the square root, 2 times the square root of 7 gives me 2 times the square root of 7. 1 times the square root of 7 gives me the square root of 7. And the square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is 7. So now what I'm going to have, these two have no radicals. I'm going to combine them. These two are radicals. I'm also going to combine them. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to get 2 plus 7 is 9, plus the square root of 7 the square root of 7 plus 2 times the square root of 7 will give me 3 times the square root of 7. So I've got 9 plus 3 times the square root of 7 for the top of my fraction. Let's check and make sure I wrote that right, and yes, I did. Okay, now we get to do the multiplication for the bottom of my fraction here. And we'll change to this color. So let's take a look at this now. On the bottom, I have 2 minus the square root of 7 and 2 plus the square root of 7. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times the negative square root of 7 will give me negative 2 times the square root of 7. 2 times the square root of 7, positive 2 times the square root of 7. And the square root of 7 times negative square root of 7 will give me negative 7. So now, these two cancel each other out. And these two I need to combine. And when I do that, 4 minus 7 is going to give me negative 3. Now let's come up here and take a look at what we have. Well, it so happens that, well, first thing is, this negative is going to have to go out front. But the other piece is that 9 and 3 times the square root of 7 are both divisible by 3, and so I'm going to distribute my division. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to have to, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit so it's smaller and I can still see everything, hopefully. Let's extend the page some. And so if I do that division, what I get when I divide, well, first of all, the negative's going to come out front. And then, and let me move this over here out of the way. The negative's going to come out front. And the 9 divided by 3 is 3. And 3 times the square root of 7 divided by 3 gives me just the square root of 7. Again, I took the negative out front, and then I distributed. Now, as the fraction is gone, notice I had to put the parentheses there. The two ways we could have dealt with this. One, we could have just distributed dividing by negative 3, or now I'm going to have to distribute this negative to get it fully simplified, because this negative applies to both terms. So now I have negative 3 minus the square root of 7. Okay, so let's move this back over here where it's generally out of the way, and look at this last one. Okay, when we're solving equations where we have a radical in it, the first thing is that we need to get the radical by itself. And then once we've done that, then we will square both sides and solve from there as needed. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get this square root of x by itself. And of course I'll do that by adding 3 to both sides of the equal sign. Excuse me. Which will give me 4 equals the square root of x. The radical is now by itself and I can square both sides. 4 squared is of course 16. And the square root of x squared is x. And as x was the only thing under the radical, the problem is now solved. If there was more than that under the radical, I might have more work to do.